What's going on YouTube? Clover here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we are not wearing our hats in today's video because it's finally much warmer. So last couple of days you may have seen me wear my little beanie, but that's because it was freezing. It was like 18 degrees here, but now it's warmed up a little bit. It's about 20 degrees higher, which is a huge difference. So now we don't need the hat, and now we're a little bit more comfortable, okay? But in terms of what's gonna come on the next couple of days, who knows, right? Well, that's why I have my weather app. Anyway, so today we're continuing on with our early regulation G team building series. We're going to look at Calyrex Shadow Rider next. We already did the Ice Rider. We've already done Miraidon. And now our focus comes into the Calyrex Shadow Rider, which again came in first and second place in the recent 350 plus person USPA Spear Pillar collaboration tournament. All right, we covered that in our previous video, so make sure you check that if you haven't done so already. But before we even continue further, for those watching, Merry Christmas Eve. And if you're watching this video the next day, Merry Christmas Day. To those who are watching, and you know, your dog, your family, your friends, any of your loved ones, of course, we bid them happy holidays and of course Merry Christmas, like we said. All right. But that being said, Clover Claus is bringing Christmas early to you guys because we're gonna give you not one, not two, not three, but six Calyrex Shadow Rider teams today as a little bit of a bonus for the Christmas holiday here. And now I do say six because I think there's a lot of different ways you can, you know, go with Calyrex and support it. And that's why it's in the S tier. If you are able to vary different sets, and if you can build around it differently, rather than just have like one or two builds, that means you're very strong and you're very flexible in a lot of different teams, which means you are a cut above the rest. And hence, that is why it is one of the three Pokemon we put in the S tier, Miraidon and Calyrex Ice Rider being the others, okay? Now, before we even talk about the pieces that we want to surround Calyrex with, how about we look at Calyrex itself, so this way we can understand how it functions, right? So you look at it, and right away, what jumps out at you as is the base special attack and the base speed. 165 special attack, 150 speed. So this is the idea that you're just a fast glass cannon sweeper, but you're not really glass, right? You know, 100 speed, 100 HP is not that bad. Defense 80 also not that bad. Really, the thing is they're just the typing. You know, you're 4 times weak to dark, and in a format where there's Incineroar and Shinpao and you know other dark types or Tera Dark, that is where Calyrex fears its matchups, right? Those dark types, and now you kind of have to build to that, which is why I think a strong fighting type is always appreciated next to the Calyrex to counter those dark types like an Incineroar, right? And we'll talk about that in a second, but just in terms of what this thing is supposed to do, Astral Barrage. Click the spread move button and watch the fireworks. There is no drawback to this move, right? Kyogre has drawback with both of its spread moves. One, you need full HP. Two, the other one can miss. So that already puts it a tier lower than Calyrex at least. But Calyrex, there's no drawback. 100% accuracy. There's no limitations to, you know, being max health or whatnot. It's just a straight nuke, okay? Click the button, things melt. And that's what it is with Calyrex here. And, you know, you don't need Trick Room to set yourself up either like you do with the Ice Rider. You can just go and click this button and, you know, watch things erupt, right? But that being said, it's not always going to be that easy. Of course, you know, there are ways around this. You can limit its damage. You can pressure it right back. So this way, even if it doesn't kill, you can KO it right back. And that's what you have to be aware of if you are a Shadow Rider player. But from here, there's lots of different ways to play this. Your other stab move is either going to be something like Psychic, most commonly, or something else. And then you can set this up with either something like Nasty Plot and then round it out with Protect, or you can build on your bulk a little bit further and go with the, I'm sorry, not Draining Kiss, go with the Calm Mind set. All right, so now you're going to get a +1 instead of a +2 to your special attack, but you get a +1 to your special defense as well. And when you accompany this with something like Incineroar, which can help you set that up, and then you have Intimidate for the, you know, a physical attack reduction, then you have special attack damage reduction with Calm Mind. It's a good combination. The Calyrex becomes harder to remove, right? Now, that being said, besides Psychic, you can also have Draining Kiss here with the Clefairy option, and this is what's going to help you get around those dark types. by just having this fairy type in general to resist those dark moves and have a super effective fairy type attack into not only the dark types, but also the other dragons running around. Think Miraidon. So if Miraidon doesn't Tera, you can KO it because you can outspeed it. And, you know, if you got a couple of Calm Minds going, you can just one-shot that thing eventually, right? So just be aware of that. That being said, usually it depends on how the Calyrex wants to play it. Sometimes you fear the mirror, right? So if you fear the mirror, you just die to Astral Barrage too, because you're also 4 times weak to go. So what's the way around it? You go with Tera Normal, okay? And now you win the mirror, because now they can't click Astral Barrage. You're a normal type. It doesn't work. So this is what a lot of people are doing right now. And a lot of our builds, we will use the Tera Normal to help you get around that mirror matchup. So this way, it's a little bit easier to manage, right? Especially if you're first learning. But for items, I would say there's 3 most common items right now. Technically, there's also 4, depending on how you view it. But for now, we'll go with Life Orb here. Okay, that's one of the more common items. Then after this, let's say you don't want the recoil, but you still want the damage. This is where people start exploring Spell Tag. So this will boost up your Astral Barrage damage, right? And then you can also go with something like Covert Cloak, which is one of my favorite items on this thing, because one way or a few ways to really get around Calyrex is to do 2 things. Outspeed it, or make it so that it doesn't do any damage, so it doesn't get any KOs, and then it's just sitting there, right? And one way to do that is, you know, stuff like Snarl from a Chiyu, for example, or Icy Wind or Electro Webs coming from Fluttermanes and Raging Bolts. Covert Cloak doesn't care about that, so you can sit there, not take that reduction, and do what it is that you do best, right? Click the Astral Barrage button, pick up those KOs, and watch them cry, okay? So those are the 3 most common items. And then the 4th one, I would say, is the choice specs, where this is usually on a hyper offensive team where you just want to go straight up nuke, okay? And then just really, really watch things melt, right? Of course, just like Miraidon watches things melt in its terrain and you're clicking Electro Drift and whatnot, Calyrex can do that too, okay? And it's scary, you know, if you don't have anything for a choice specs Calyrex, so just be aware of that. But I would say those are the most common sets that you can run on the set. Now, in the beginning, in the very beginning of regulationG, there was the Focus Sash set, but this wasn't really doing any as much damage, right? And at the same time, you kind of wanted this thing on the Urshifu, just because Urshifu is really, really strong, and it's a little bit vulnerable to a lot of things in the meta right now. But if you have that Sash, that gives you that lifeline, and then you can continue doing what you need to do, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you what it is you need to use with and building with Calyrex, right? So with the common partners, right? So we won't do the full teams yet. I just want to show you like the partners first. Of course, Incin, Urshifu, and Rillaboom, okay? And this is very standard, right? This is no surprise here. So basically, if you are running, for example, a Life Orb Nasty Plot set, okay, one way to really set that up is to go with your double fake outs from your Incineroar and Rillaboom and position yourself where you're clicking fake out and you're nuking with your slot, whereas for them, they don't get to attack with 1 slot because, you know, you fake them out, or maybe they have to switch. Same thing, they don't get to attack, and whatever comes in has to take that Astral Barrage. Or you go fake out Nasty Plot, set up first, then protect and then reposition out with something like either Parting Shot or U-turn, okay? And then the next turn, after you set up your Nasty Plot, then you can click fake out, and then you can click Astral Barrage, right? So it's really a flow chart kind of thing, but that's how you want to play these Calyrex teams that are balanced like this. You know, just use their fake outs, set up that Nasty Plot, protect next turn, then position out with either U-turn or Parting Shot, and then get your fake out Mon back in again, another one, and then you just click fake out Astral Barrage again, right? You see how that works? The other way to really also capitalize this is with redirection support. This is where something like Clefairy was really good with the Calyrex, because again, Clefairy is just a natural fairy type, and Friend Guard is very good, okay? Because now the Calyrex has extra bulk, okay? Because again, the reduction from Friend Guard, and then you have the redirection support from Follow Me. You can redirect those dark type attacks away. Yes, of course, if it's Snarl, that's a little bit different, but at least with the Clefairy itself, you can protect the Calyrex from harm's way from those super effective moves and then, you know, just go from there. And what's really good with Clefairy also is it has After You, which means in the Trick Room game, you can click After You and then go with your Calyrex move, because then the Ice Rider teams, they're going to be stuck because the Clefairy is outspeeding everything, right? So that's the other benefit of having Clefairy here on your team. And then another kind of partner, like we mentioned, besides the Urshifu, is you can also go with the Mienshao. Mienshao has been a great partner with Calyrex in the past, just because, one, it's a fighting type, which means you can just click close combat and kill all those Incineroars. You don't even need to go Jolly. You can go Adamant, right, with a Pokepastes set here, and you get access to Wide Guard, which is great against other regulationG spread Pokemon like Water Spout, Glacial Lance, another Astral Barrage for that matter. This is a really good Pokemon to have. And again, Inner Focus, you can't get intimidated, you can't get faked out, and Urshifu has to get around that, right? So, you know, to pros and cons to both, but Mienshao is an excellent Pokemon in a restricted format for these reasons, because there's so much Incineroar too. So that's another partner. Then you can also go the hyper offensive route and just try and beat some of those Tailwind teams, right? You can also go with Tornadus, okay, and then just click Tailwind and click Astral Barrage. If you are going up against another Tailwind team, you can do that too. And then in terms of like terrain, you can also add the Indeedee, right? Because now you can just go with Astral Barrage Expanding Force, okay? And then now you're just doing a ton of damage, because now you have terrain on your side, psychic terrain, and now Expanding Force is doing a lot. That being said, if you only have 2 spread moves, a little bit more vulnerable to Wide Guard, so you might have to give up this nasty plot and either just go something like this with Shadow Ball, right? Your single target ghost move, or you go the Choice Specs variant, right? And go Violence mode, and then just have something else in this last slot here, like with Tera Normal, maybe something like Hyper Beam. That's been used in the past, like a straight nuke, okay, that just blasts something for big damage. So you can go with something like this, and this could be the core of another team, right? So those are some of the partners here. And then, of course, you know what you're getting with Raging Bolt. Again, you know, just being able to have priority and click Electro Webs or click Thunderclaps, Thunderbolts, Draco Meteor. Again, your own electric dragon type that is not named Miraidon, right? So that's also another type of support partner that you can consider. And then some of the other Ogerpons, right? So even besides this, you can also go with like the Ogerpon Hearthflame and even the Ogerpon Cornerstone, okay? Technically, any of the Ogerpons are good. I'll just use these 3. So like, again, they have that redirection support, and they're very fast, so they can put pressure onto the opponent, because Ivy Cudgel just does so much damage. So basically what you can have is like some bulky redirectors that can deal damage, and that's very good in terms of like trying to protect your Calyrex, right? So we have a few builds with some of these as well, okay? But yeah, anyway, so it just really depends on how you want to build the Calyrex. Do you want to go with this balanced idea, or do you want to go a little bit more hyper offensive and go with like a Tornadus idea, okay? And we got multiple of those teams on you, for you, I should say, coming up here. All right, so what we're gonna do is we'll start with the generic one, and then we'll work our way towards some of the other builds. All right, let's start back with the original Calyrex set that we had here, and let's go Life Orb Tera Normal with Nasty Plot here. So we got our spread move, we have our single target move, we have our setup move, and we have Protect, right? So I like going with Clefairy first, okay? I want that nice friend guard for the rest of my team. I want that redirection support would follow me, okay? And I want the fact that I can take advantage of my speed tier in the Trick Room, right? So we'll go with these 2 as the starting point here, all right? So follow me Nasty Plot, followed by, you know, follow me Astral Barrage potentially, right? But after this, it just gets a little bit more standard, of course, where you're gonna add your patented Fire, Water, Grass core. Let's go Incineroar, let's go Rillaboom. Okay, we'll go Urshifu here, and then finally, let's get another special attacker on the team. So let's go with Raging Bolt over here, right? And this is how you'll see a lot of Calyrex Shadow Rider teams in the beginning. They'll just do something like this with the good stuff with Incin, Rillaboom, Urshifu, all right? And then the last 2 slots are up for grabs. You can go more balanced, or you can go more offensive with something like Tornadus or something else over here, right? But we're going with the Clefairy idea here. So I like going either Terra Grass or Terra Ground. So for this variant, let's go with Ground Terra, so this way you can redirect the Miraidon stuff away. And at the same time, you know, you're just neutral to steel moves, and then just also some of the poison stuff that might be coming into the way, right? So we'll go ground here. All right, we'll have the Eviolite. Follow Me, Helping Hand. Okay, Sing is also pretty good, and then just Protect here. Now, if you don't like Sing, you can go with the After You idea, okay? And then this will help you take advantage in that Trick Room scenario. So if that is something that you want, you can definitely do that. Either way, I would go Relax Nature here, okay, with 252, almost 252. It's 176 to optimize my Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery, and then just literally max the defense here and just put the remainder here in Spadef. And now, when you look at this, you know, you're a little bit uneven in terms of your bulk here. So what you want to do is you can just take this out, put this at 185, 186 here, and then you can just put this somewhere else here. But otherwise, you can just leave the last couple points in spread depth. It just doesn't really make a huge difference. It's okay if you don't have like the full final, you know, even numbers for your Violet. You know, sometimes just max defense is just probably a little bit better. But if you really want to, you can just do this. And now you have this optimization with your bulk, but you know, the 1 extra HP in terms of your grassy terrain recovery is missed out, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter in that sense. I think this is like more than sufficient with what we want to do with our Clefairy. The Calyrex, so we'll just go straight up 252 timid speed here. So this way we'll make it come down to a speed tie. I just want a little bit of Life Orb optimization here. Let's go to 179 here. Again, anytime that I try to have this Life Orb, I always look to try and get that HP stat to a 9. So this way, I don't break the threshold and take 1 extra point of damage. What do I mean by that? So right now I have 179 HP. If you read the item on Life Orb, it means you're losing 1/10 of your max HP. That means 179 divided by 10, 17.9. Okay, you can't take 17.9 points of damage in Pokemon. That doesn't exist. All right, so what happens? Does it round down or does it round up? It rounds down, okay? All things round down in this game. So this becomes 17 points of damage, right? But now if I break the threshold like this, okay, now I'm at 180. Now 180 divided by 10 is 18. I'm taking 1 extra point of damage for nothing. So why would I need to do that? Let's undercut it. Let's go -1, right? And then let's do it like this. So this way we don't take that extra point of Life Orb chip. Okay, after this, you just round out your bulk stats with just 1 point each and dump the rest into special attack. And that's it. That's our Calyrex set. The Clefairy, again, like we said, same thing. We're just going to go Relax Nature with 0 speed. So this way we're faster than the Ice Rider. And either you can go with After You or you can go with Sing if you want to put that thing to sleep in Trick Room. So you can also do that. It's like your Amoongus. It's not very accurate, right? 50%. Which is why maybe you might go with your After You, but I'll leave it up to you. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave this as Sing for now, but if you want the After You idea, you can definitely do that. All right, the Incineroar here. So actually, this is an item that picked up late in Regulation G, and we saw a little bit of it in the World Championships. Rocky Helmet Incineroar has been very good. Why? Because what are some of the things that want to hit the Incineroar? Urshifu, right? And even Chien-Pao. These are 2 prime suspects for the Focus Sash. If they try and hit you, okay, they're going to lose their sash. And that means, you know, you can sweep them, right? A lot easier with your Calyrex if you know that their sash is broken, which is important. So I really like this tech of Rocky Helmet Incineroar that came about towards the end of the first part of Regulation G. And we're seeing that pick up yet again, right? So I like it. But Fake Out, of course. Then you have Knockoff, of course. Then you have Parting Shot, and then Will-O-Wisp. So you forgo the Flare Blitz a little bit here, but I think Will-O-Wisp is just so good, just in terms of like burning targets, and you know, just like Zamazentas, Chien-Paos, Urshifus. You can burn these. Same thing with Rillaboom's. You can burn them, and you know they just don't do any damage, you know, after a while, right? So I like this. Terra Water also for that resistance to the Urshifu, which is really nice. Same thing with Chien-Pao. You know, you just neutralize your fighting weakness from the Sacred Sword, and you just break the sash altogether. Now, in terms of a set, I do like this set with Impish, right? I'm going to max the HP, and then from here, I'm going to show you just how much defense I need against the Jolly Urshifu Rapid Strike here. So if I just go a couple points here, the goal is to try and live both of these, right? So we're getting there. We're almost there. Notice how it's just going to change it. All right, so we got the Surging Strike calc, which is good. Now I want to go for the close combat. and I have it right here. So I can live both Surging Strikes and Close Combat. Jolly Instant, not Terra Water, no modifiers, no Rain, no Terra, none of that, okay? Not even Adamant, just Jolly straight Instant. Okay, you can live this with 252 HP and 180 defensive bulk here, all right? And I like this Instant set. Okay, so we'll go like this. Then you've got 76 EVs left to play with. I just like to put 1 point in the attack set. Of course, you're not really meant to do offense on the Incineroar. You're just meant to pivot. Let's go a little bit of speed. I think 28 speed is enough. This way, so I can see if you do outspeed me, you have more speed investment than me, which means you have a little bit less bulk than some of the other Incins, right? So I always want to scout for that. So we'll put a little bit of speed just to see where your intimidates lie. Okay, now the Rillaboom here, this will be our self-best user. Okay, Grassy Surge, of course. Fake Out again. Grassy Glide, your priority grass move. Then you have U-Turn, your pivot move, and then Wood Hammer over here. Okay, Terrafire, of course, you don't get burned, you don't get Flare Blitzed, you resist Glacial Lance, you don't get Hurricaned to death. Terrafire, one of the best Terras that you can have on Rillaboom here. So, Adamant Nature, 132 HP investment. This is going to optimize my HP for my Grassy Terrain recovery, putting it at 192, which means divided by 16. All right, that's going to give you 12 HP perfect recovery. And now I have more EVs left to play with to, you know, fix up my bulk a little bit, right? So I'm just going to go to 196 here, the attack bump here. And I'm going to stop right here and put my little PSA announcement. If you are trying to get better at competitive Pokemon, and if you're trying to get better at creating EV spreads, okay, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps, because that is a very important skill to understand in creating EV spreads. If you do reply asking that, I will respond to you and I will answer you, okay? Otherwise, you can go back to our channel back in August. We put out a whole video on this titled What Are EV Bumps? Okay, so go ahead and give that a watch. I even go through a few examples showing it step by step. But if you just want like a quick answer, I will reply to you. All right, if you comment below asking what are EV bumps. All right, anyway, so 132, 196, this is our setup here. So I got 180 EVs left to play with. So from here, you can do a couple things. One, you can put 76 EVs right here. This is enough to outspeed the Blood Moon or Saluna that are timid nature. And then just put 12 points in defense. And then 92 points in Speed F, because that's all you have left over. That'll get you into triple digits here, right? Otherwise, you can do something like this, where you can have just straight 100, just make sure you have enough EVs to have triple digits, and then have a little bit more speed like this, where you outspeed the modest Pelippers at the very least. So this way you don't have to take that Hurricane or that Weather Ball if you've already Terra'd, right? So I'll leave it like this. We'll recycle this Rillaboom spread constantly because it's a good one. All right, it does what I want it to do. All right, Urshifu here. This is going to be our Sashmon. And we will make it Terra Stellar, Surging Strikes, Close Combat. I like Taunt. If you like Aqua Jet, great. Otherwise, I like Taunt. Fast Urshifu Taunt is also really, really good. We got to see this a little bit from the World Championships back in August. So we're going to steal that tech. That is Surf. That's not Surging Strikes. There we go here. Oh, this is the dark one. Oh, my goodness. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, I was wondering, like, why is this an error? All right, here we go. There is the water one here. Focus Sash. Let's go Stellar. Fast Taunt, of course. And then Surging Strikes. Close Combat, Taunt, and then Protect, right? Then just straight 252, 252 here. If you like Adamant, great. Otherwise, we're going to go Jolly here just so that we can try and outspeed other Incins. Other Urshifus, which means a little bit less damage, right? But you can't deal damage if you're dead if you don't get to go first. So I'm going to go Jolly here. Otherwise, if you like Adamant here, I will suggest you do this, right, for your Adamant set. And what's really cool about adding 1 HP EV here as opposed to down here, this gets you to 176, which is, again, another multiple of 16 for your Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery, right? Raging Bolt here. So booster energy is pretty cool. And from here, you can do Thunderclap, your priority move. Thunderbolt, your single target move. If you know you're faster. Draco Meteor, your big Dragon Nuke. And then, of course, Protect over here. And I still just like Terra Electric just for like a little bit more extra damage. So one thing I like to do with Raging Bolt here is I just like to lead the Chien-Pao Ice Attack. So we're going to go for 224 HP investment. Again, another multiple of 16 for my Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery. And all I really need is about 132 defense to live the ice attacks from the Mienshao here, right? And then after this, 1 point in speed. I don't really need speed on this thing. I just need my Bolt, so this way I can stay on the field and deal damage. Right here, this is all you needed for your special attack. Just, again, hitting this benchmark here for the booster energy. But I'm going to go to about 190 here just for a little bit more, right? Just to even it out a little bit for the 1.3 stat, right? So I'm going to go there. And after this, just dump the rest into Spedef because that's all that is left over, okay? But this is it. This is our first general Calyrex Shadow Rider team. Okay, you got the good stuff, you got the Clefairy here, and you got the Raging Bolt here. This is how you'll see this Calyrex team a lot. So if you want to try it yourself, here it is. But let me show you a couple test games with it, and then we'll move on to the other variants. Okay, so this is the classic Shadow Rider versus Ice Rider matchup. He has a very similar idea to us. He's got the good stuff with the Raging Bolt here. The only difference is he's got a Pelipper and I've got a Clefairy. Do I bring Clefairy to this match? I can if I want to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to rely on my pivot ideas with Incin and Rillaboom, and then just create those ideas with Fake Out and pressure with the Astro Barrage here. So let's see if I can get around that. But first, let's go with Shadow Rider here. Let's go with Incin. So this way we get off to a decent start here. He goes with his own Incin, and there is his Rillaboom. So he's going to keep his Ice Rider in the back. And now here comes the Rillaboom here that can pressure a little bit. And now the Dark type is in front of my Calyrex here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to protect turn 1, see what he wants to do here. There is the Wood Hammer that comes out. And really my plan is just to burn this Rillaboom so he doesn't do as much damage. He already Tera Normaled, which is good because that's a great Tera against the Calyrex. So we scouted that out fine. Okay, I'm just going to go Nasty Plot here, right? He goes for a Wood Hammer. That doesn't do him that much damage. He's burned and he's intimidated. Knockoff also doesn't do that much damage. He knocks off my Life Orb. I've taken a lot of damage, all right? But now I can go into Urshifu Rapid Check, and now I can start pressuring these slots here, right? Both of them, because he's also Tera Normal. He's not a grass anymore here. So I'm going to protect first, okay? I'm just going to get rid of the Dark type, okay? That's more of the threat than it is the Rillaboom. The Rillaboom's burned. I'd rather have him stay on the field with that and not deal that much damage here. See, like, even Wood Hammer doesn't even pick up in grassy terrain here. So he's intimidated. He's burned. Okay, Calyrex is +2. We're getting a little bit more recovery with terrain. He goes into the Calyrex now. This is fine also. So I'm going to go with Incineroar here. I'm going to intimidate the Rillaboom again. I just want to pressure with Astro Barrage. He protects, which is a good protect, right? So my attack does nothing here, which is fine, okay? Because the Rillaboom, he's not doing that much damage either. I do get to live, and I think he did more damage to himself with that than he did to me, right? So now what I can do, he tries to protect here. It doesn't work out. I just want to Fake Out the Rillaboom here so I don't have to take a hammer. There's no speed for him. The Calyrex just drops. He tried the double. He didn't get it, and now I'm +3 essentially, right? So now the Rillaboom is stuck here, intimidated and burned. He goes into Urshifu here. This is fine. So he goes for the Calyrex kill here in this case. That's okay, right? Because now I had that pin. He either had to go for the Incin and go for the Calyrex. He went for the Calyrex. So now I just cycle, right? So now I have my own Urshifu in the back, right? And, this Urshifu is now -1. This Rillaboom is going to get intimidated again. I have Fake Out pressure again. And now I just win from here. So he's burned and intimidated, and I have Fake Out on my side. So in the end, I was able to use my balance mons, my support mons, and outbeat my opponent there just because I managed to position a little bit better with my Incineroar. Alright, so this is another pretty typical Zamazenta team with Mienshao here with Urshifu Rillaboom. No Entei though. Instead, he's got Landorus, which is great for Miraidon, and then he's got Magmar here for a solid redirector, trying to set up maybe his iron defenses, or maybe even substitute for that matter. Either way, I still think something like Incineroar is pretty good here. So he goes with Mienshao here, and he goes with Landorus. That's okay. I'm going to go with Incin here and intimidate the Mienshao and go with Urshifu so I can pressure the Landorus right back here. So I have Fake Out on my side. He doesn't. He goes into Rillaboom. So he's forced to retreat, which is fine by me. So I Fake Out the Landorus, which doesn't do anything because he switched. He goes for Throat Chop there. So no parting shot for me, but Surging Strikes going into the Landorus, but now technically the Rillaboom slot here. That's a lot of damage already. And now, of course, terrain comes back up here. So Mienshao's Sash is broken, right? And that's important. So now what I want to do is just try and burn something here, right? He goes for Wood Hammer. He goes for Throat Chop there. And I do miss the burn. That's okay, though. Okay, that's fine. I still keep my Sash. All right, he's almost there back to his Sash. But of course, the Chien-Pao protects. This is okay. I just want to get rid of the Chien-Pao and just try and deal as much damage to it. I don't get to pick up the KO because I am Jolly, which is still fine. He didn't even go for the Urshifu kill. Goes into Landorus. All right, now we parting shot that thing, and guess who we get to bring in? We get to bring in Calyrex. From this range, Calyrex can pick up the Chien-Pao, okay? And Sucker Punch won't matter a whole lot here because we go Tera Normal, right? So we go with the Astro. He doesn't even click Sucker, all right? We're +1 now, and now we could have even Aqua Jetted there. I was surprised. He went for the sub. I didn't want to Aqua Jet there because I thought he might switch, but hey, we could have definitely did that in essence, right? So now Calyrex picks that up. Now here comes Rillaboom with Fake Out, and here comes Zamazenta here. So we have to also be aware of Wide Guard. Let's just go into Incin. Let's play it safe here, and let's just protect the Calyrex. You know, just get a little bit more recovery back. Okay, goes for Fake Out. He knows like he can fake me out now. Body Press kills my Incin. So good idea from him, right? +1 Body Press. But again, now we have what we want here. Now we can go Clefairy. Okay, Clefairy can redirect everything. So Psychic, we pick up the Rillaboom. Now we're +2, okay, which is important. And now he has Heavy Slam, but look how much we eat that. We eat that Heavy Slam, all right? Wide Guard doesn't do anything here, right? I still click Astro, okay, but it doesn't do anything. So he doesn't even do any damage. I'm going to click Follow Me again. All right, Psychic just absolutely nukes Zamazenta. Go, goodbye, get one shot. Life Orb, +2, Calyrex, absolutely dominating there. So Clefairy, good endgame clutch there with the support. But again, it was really Incineroar and Urshifu doing a lot of the heavy lifting. All right, so for our second variant, we're going to go with the more hyper-offensive variant rather than the balanced stuff. So I took away everything that you saw before, and now let's go with Tornadus, and let's go with Indeedee over here, right? So we're going to go with the Psychic Terrain idea, and we're going to go with Expanding Force, okay? But I want this Calyrex to just be super violent here. So we're going to go Choice Specs, okay? And we will go with that single target Shadow Ball here, and we will go with that Tera Normal Hyper Beam over here, right? And we just go 252, 252. That's really all we want out of this Calyrex. Just be super fast and nuke something super well. This we can give the Focus Sash here, so we can give an extra lifeline. Bleak Wind Storm is pretty good. All right, Rain Dance, Tailwind, and then just straight Protect here, right? And then we can go Terra Ghost here, so this way we don't have to take, you know, Dragonite Extreme Speed for that matter, boosted by Chien-Pao with the band. That's a thing now a little bit again. But the Indeedee here, we can go Psychic Seeds here, and then we can just go Tera Fairy here. Again, pretty good resistance against the dark types. Dazzling Gleam will be our main attack, followed by Follow Me, Helping Hand, and then Trick Room against the other Tailwind teams. And then of course, like we said, Psychic Terrain for this. All right, so this is the essence of our team, these three guys, okay? After this, then how about we make the Calyrex hit even harder? So let's add Chi-Yu to this, okay? So now we add Chi-Yu, and Beads of Ruin makes it so that, you know, these Pokemon have less SPDF. So that's great for us because that's exactly what we want Chi-Yu to do. And we want this thing to snarl things like Miraidon and another Calyrex Shadow Rider that isn't Covert Cloak. So what we can do is we can click Tailwind, we can click Snarl. They won't do damage. We can also click Covert Cloak, so you can't even intimidate us, all right? And then we can just do like a support set with Flame Thrower. If you really want, you can go Overheat, but I think Flamethrower is also pretty good. We'll go Will-O-Wisp just like Incineroar, and then we can have Taunt here. And I like this kind of Chi-Yu, you know, just in terms of support. So we can go Terra Water here. And then after this, so what do we want to do after we have this Dark Fire type on our team? And again, the whole key is like, okay, the Incineroar is still like somewhat of a threat. Let's just keep going with Urshifu here. Just have a water type here. And then let's go Iron Hands. We need a Fake Out Mon on this team. All right, let's go Iron Hands. Something that can also deal big damage on their Trick Room. Something that can also be brought into Terrapagos matchup besides the Urshifu. Something that can also do well in Miraidon's terrain if it does come out. So I think Iron Hands also is there. And then something to pressure Kyogre with. So I do like Iron Hands for that as well. But again, Fake Out, Drain Punch, Wild Charge. Okay, now here you can put Heavy Slam here if you really want to. Otherwise, you can go Volt Switch and, you know, just repivot out and then just reset your Fake Outs ideally, right? So I think Assault Vest is going to be good. And then here we can go Terra Grass, of course, to not get smashed by the Landorus Earth Power for that matter. So I like this. This is a pretty standard 6. So like not standard, but this is like a hyper offensive 6. I remember Joseph Ugarte ran this back in like I think it was like May or something like that, or maybe June. He brought this to like an online tournament. And I was like, you know what, this is a pretty cool team. We're gonna save this. So I think we just adjusted the Iron Hands Tera a little bit, but you know we're just gonna use our own spreads for this. Okay, so with Tornadus, again we just want to click Rain Dance, click Tailwind, let our Urshifu do a ton of damage, and then from there just like sweep, let the Calyrex come in with the Indeedee, click Expanding Force, click Astral Barrage under Tailwind, things melt. All right, but with the Sash we just go 2-5-2 here. We don't really need to think too hard with this Tornadus over here. Let's go Timid here, and then the Indeedee, same thing. We can just go Relax Nature again. Just again putting this HP right here for you can actually put it right here technically, right? And then just max the defense like this. And then if anything, I can do this, right? We can just do this and pop the Spidef into something like this, right? So this way we get something out of our a nice solid even number for our Psychic Seeds boost there. So we keep it like that. And then 176, just in case they want to pivot in the Rillaboom and change terrain, we can get optimal recovery this way. But yeah, after that, we got these 3. So Chiyu here, honestly, I just want to be max speed modest. So we'll do it like this. Again, I have Tailwind on my side. Just about, where do I want to put this? I think right here is okay. Let's just put 1 point here, a point there, and then 144 like this. Again, for that optimal recovery, I think you get 9 HP. So then the rest just gets dumped here into special attack, and that's really all I want out of Chiyu. Urshifu here. So I like this set with Safety Goggles, Swords Dance, right? And I saw this used a couple times back in like early parts of Regi. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Surging Strikes, close combat here with Swords Dance. I think it's pretty solid. Tera Water also. But we're going to be slower and bulkier here, right? Just because. Let's just go Adamant 156 here. I think that's good enough. In terms of speed, I think 84 investments okay. We can still be faster than like the timid Pelippers. And then how about 132 investment here for that 192 mark for the terrain, and then just dump the rest here into special defense, just so that we have some leftover bulk there in that sense, right? So my idea here is that, look, you've got Sword Dance. You don't need max attack here. You might as well go a little bit more into your bulk so you can survive. Take that hit first when you're setting up Sword Dance, and then kill them next turn, you know, with your +2 Surging Strikes. Iron Hands here. Let's just go Adamant Nature. Let's go about 84 investment here for that Rillaboom recovery terrain. Adamant 156 for the benchmark there. About this much, 172. Spidef for the Earth Power Landers. And then dump the rest here into speed. Let's be a faster Iron Hands here. Let's pressure the opponent with something like this. Especially some of those Incineroars. But this is it. This is like, you know, a hyper offensive way of playing the Calyrex, right? With Tornadus, Tailwind, Indeedee, Chiyu stuff. Reminds you of like the Iron Crown ideas, right? Then Urshifu, and then the Iron Hands just round things out over here, right? So you have a Trick Room Sweeper, you have Trick Room and Tailwind. You've got Snarl support, you've got Urshifu that can deal big damage in the rain, you've got Tera Normal choice specs on your Calyrex. So all in all, you've got what you need here. So let's do a quick showcase. Let's see how this team works. Okay, so he's got a Terrapagos team here, and there is the Volcarona bug type that can help support against the fighting types here. So he might even just bring that. I do also see he has his own Iron Hands there. He's got Roaring Moon, which is pretty cool also. That probably comes to us because, again, Dark type for our Calyrex, I would imagine it does. Roaring Moon's a pretty underrated mon. I do like it a lot, a little bit. It's comparable to Iron Jugulus, but that's a discussion for another time. Technically, 2 different Pokemon here. But we've got the advantage. You know, we have tools for the Terrapagos here. We just have to make sure we're in the position here. So we just got to really get rid of some of this redirection, Rillaboom stuff, and then we can get to the Terrapagos. I'm going to go Iron Hands Urshifu first. Fake out Surging Strikes is always good. He goes Roaring Moon and Terrapagos here. So we have the pressure immediately, right? We can fake out the Roaring Moon. We can Drain Punch it. He can switch out his Terrapagos. So he goes for that, which is fine by us. So he goes Terra Flying Roaring Moon. Very bold of him to do that in front of an Iron Hands. And then we just click Close Combat, which does a lot of damage in all honesty, right? Adamant 156. So now I just want to switch here. Go into Indeedee. Stop the fake out. Stop Grassy Terrain priority stuff, right? He goes for Tailwind, so he just naturally outspeeds with Grassy Glide. That's okay. But now we just go Wild Charge here and we take out the Roaring Moon. So this is good. The Rillaboom has been chipped a lot. He has no grassy terrain. Goes into Landorus. This is where Tera Grass comes in really clutch. Protect Rillaboom comes out, but we're going to click Trick Room here. So if he went for the Indeedee here with like Earth Power, then okay, great, but he decided to ignore it, right? So now we have the advantage. He has no choice but to repivot into Terapagos. We killed the Rillaboom there, so that's gone. And again, we're the ones dealing damage right now. We're the ones in the driver's seat. And again, that's because we have Trick Room up. So now we just chip the Terapagos here. I could have even technically close combated this thing, but let's just get rid of the Landers here. Okay. And he chose to not even like Tera this thing, right? So it is going to be a Starfall Tera, but again, that doesn't really do that much. He's not even set up with the Calm Minds. So now we just keep chipping the Terapagos there. We go back to full. He has no way to beat it. Starfall again. No big deal because now one turn of Trick Room left. Calyrex comes in. If you don't beat him now, he beats you next turn. So now is it Death by Iron Hands or Death by Calyrex? And they choose Death by Iron Hands there. So Iron Hands looks pretty good on a Calyrex team too, just for all things considered. And same thing with like Iron Hands Ursh is also quite strong at the end of the day. I do like it a lot. Okay, so now we'll show you a third variant that you can play Calyrex here. So we've taken away the options from variant number 2, and we've gone back to the first idea, but there's going to be some differences with this first team, especially in this last slot. So you can play the Calyrex with the Covert Cloak idea, like we mentioned earlier, and this will be a Tera-Fairy Calyrex with Draining Kiss and Calm Mind right here. So now you can set up this Calyrex, and what we're going to do is we're going to invest in its bulk, but still have Timid 252 speed. We'll just go to 192 here for that Grassy Terrain recovery. We'll have a little bit of speed F here, just about 1 point there. That's really all you want. And then 84 defense here, just to give us a physical presence on the Calyrex here, and then just a tiny bit of special attack just to boost it up to like at least a flat 190 here. So I think this is going to be pretty good. All right, the Instant we can keep as the Rocky Helmet. Otherwise, you can also still go with the Safety Goggles set if you don't want to, you know, get slept by an Amoongus potentially. Clefairy, again, you can go with Active View, you can go with Sing. Just really depends on you. Again, I think you can also go Tera Grass rather than Ground, so we'll give you that idea as well. But the Urshifu here, we're going to go Scarf. Okay, we're going to go Scarf variant, and we'll go with that other late regulationG tech from the first time around. We'll go Rock Tomb here. So a chance to drop speed by 1 and break Sash. So this is going to be pretty good against something like a Chien-Pao, for example, right? Where you can break Sash and just deal super effective damage to it immediately. The Clefairy here, again, pretty standard there in that sense. But this, we will add the Mienshao. So now we have the Focus Sash here, okay? And then we can do stuff like this. Close Combat, Wide Guard. This will be our taunt user rather than the Urshifu. And then we still have Fake Out on our side with the Mienshao. So you have 1, 2, 3 Fake Out Pokemon along with a Redirector. So we can do all the things that we want to try and set up this Calm Mind here. But in terms of our Mienshao, we can definitely go Adamant here. All right, we can just pretty much one-shot any Incineroar. We don't have to necessarily go for Jolly. And this is going to be variant number 3. Now, the Rillaboom will stay as it is, so that's not going to change. Same thing with Incineroar here. Besides the goggles, we'll keep that as it is. We've changed the Calyrex already, and we've already mentioned the Urshifu spread here, right? So this one is the Chien-Pao variant, right? Which, again, Wide Guard is very valuable for Calyrex, so let's see if we can take advantage. All right, quick sample game with this. So basically, this is a Calyrex Ice Rider team with a Ferrograph. So very interesting squad here because he's got a fast mode and a Trick Room mode here. But the Pokemon that I think he has to bring is, besides his restricted, is the Ferrograph and the Chi-Yu. Why? Because we've got 3 Fake Out Pokemon on our team, right? So Ferrograph is going to be pretty good into denying that, right? Because we need the Fake Outs to like stall out the Trick Room. And then, of course, I do see the Chi-Yu over there. That's going to put pressure into our Shadow Rider. So I think those 3 100% have to come. And then after that, it's up for grabs between the Raging Bolt and his other Urshifu there. I don't think he brings Whimsicott into this at all because, you know, we're not really a fast team anyway. So I think at the very least, those 3 have to come. So that being said, besides our restricted, I still think we bring something like Mienshao, right? Just because, again, the Fake Out pressure, but of course also the the Wide Guard to help us against the Glacial Lance. And then we have a fighting type that can, either force the Ghost Tera out of the Chi-Yu or just, kill the Chi-Yu and outspeed it first, right? So we have that going for us. And then at the same time, Incineroar is still useful here just because of knockoff to remove the Clear Amulet and then Parting Shot pressure into either the Raging Bolt or even the Calyrex just to position ourselves a little bit better, right? So I think even the Urshifu can come as well just because of the fact that it is an Urshifu, right? So I want to start it out like this. So we're going to go instant Urshifu, right? We'll keep the Calyrex in the back first just in case he decides to lead the Chi-Yu, right? So he brings the Calyrex and he does lead the Chi-Yu with it, right? So very interesting lead by our opponent. But we have the pressure, so I don't really need to go for Fake Out because I think the Fergaf comes in. But he instead brings the Raging Bolt there, maybe anticipating the Surging Strikes going into that. But really the Chi-Yu is the more major threat because it pressures the Calyrex more so than the Ice Rider. So I wanted to get rid of that first. So we got rid of the Chi-Yu turn 1, which is good for us, right? So now I want to just go into Mienshao there. I don't want to just get smacked by a Thunderclap here. So Terra Ground High Horsepower is interesting, but we have good EV, so we're able to live that. So that's very fortunate for us. Now the Raging Bolt is -2, taking Life Orb chip. We get the knockoff off, so now we remove the amulet. So now we could Intimidate cycle if we need to, right? He goes into Fergraf, thinking that we would fake it out, but I want to go into Urshifu and preserve the instant here, right? And he does, in fact, Thunderclap the Mienshao slot anyway. So that's the advantage there of having something like this. So now we can go into Shadow Rider a little bit more safely because the Ice Rider is off the field. And now I just want to Terra Stellar the Urshifu, just do a little bit of damage here. I want to test this Fergraf and just put this thing in range potentially of a Psychic or just another attack later on. But now he gets to trick him up, which is bad for us, but we're still able to survive here, right? So Foul Play doesn't KO, and we can Draining Kiss the Raging Bolt here and get our health back, which is important here. So we get to remove the Fergraf, which is important because now we can Fake Out cycle with our Incin and Mienshao later on, right? So we're very low, but again, we still have Fake Out pressure, that we can click now. So I want to go into Incineroar here and just Intimidate the Calyrex. Even if I lose it, at least he doesn't get the +1. He just goes back to neutral, and that's what I really want. And, just trying to stall out these Trick Room turns, ideally, right? Because now the Fergaf is off the field. Okay, and he can't protect on that Raging Bolt either. So this is a very simple play. Just click Fake Out here. I know he can't kill with Thunderclap into the Calyrex here, or even Thunderbolt because he's -2. So now this is just an easy Astral Barrage because, again, he can't protect. And now we can pick up the KO here, go to +1. And then from this range, anything can beat this Calyrex. There is one more turn of Trick Room left. But all you really have to do is just protect the Calyrex and, give him the Urshifu if you have to. You could even Aqua Jet, maybe get the KO. But even if you don't, and even if he picks up the Urshifu, Trick Room is over. And then next turn, you just beat him because your Calyrex is now +1 there. So, again, what we were really doing is just removing the key threats to the Calyrex. The Chi-Yu had to go first. Then the Fergraf had to go next because we needed to click Fake Out. So that needed to get some pressure on him, with our Urshifu. And then after that, then the Fake Outs can be used again. And there's nothing else that's stopping the Calyrex once the Trick Room turns were gone. So that's exactly what we did here. All right, the next variant that I want to show you is actually from the recent Victory Road tournament from this weekend. So a couple Japanese players were using this build, and I figured it was worth mentioning here because I think it's also relatively solid and could pick up a little bit more as the format progresses. So what exactly was Japan doing from Victory Road here? So we'll start out with this. Again, some familiar pieces with the Rillaboom and the Urshifu here. And it was Tera Normal, Life Orb, Calyrex Shadow Rider with the Nasty Plot. So we're going to bring back that spread. Okay, but really what they were doing was this. They said, let's add Pelipper to this. So now we'll get a stronger Urshifu, right? Because the Sash Urshifu kind of lacks damage a little bit, but at the same time, we want to make it do damage. So we'll keep the Sash, but we'll get Weather Control on our side, and we'll have access to Wide Guard, and we'll also have access to Tailwind here. So now we get Speed Control on our side, and we have some way to mitigate, spread move damage. And then, of course, Hurricane and Weather Ball come over here, right? But because the Sash is over here, the Pelipper doesn't have that Sash. So now we can just go with the Covert Cloak set and with Terra Grass. And now what this does is, first of all, we get to resist Rillaboom damage and we get to resist Miraidon damage. But this will help us get around Amoongus for that matter. And then at the same time, when we go with the bulkier set, we can survive certain hits. And we'll show you that spread in a second here. But Pelipper Urshifu looks really good here. Then we have another thing with the Hidden Sash, and that was the Rock Ogerpon here. And this is what they were doing. And I think the Rock Ogerpon is just overall relatively solid because, again, this does a lot into Incineroar, right? And you know, the Ivy Cudgel just does a lot into something like Tornadus too. And then you get redirection support with Follow Me. And again, Sturdy is very good. And this is another one that can pressure the Ice Rider as well. You know, again, the high crit ratio. Again, there's just I'm sorry. The Ivy. Let me put Power Whip here for a second. Okay, then Follow Me, and then Spiky Shield here, right? So again, Rock Ogerpon kind of picked up a little bit towards the later parts of Reg G, and for good reason. Again, just like I said, Sturdy is really good. You don't give up the KO to the Calyrexes, which is important. They don't get their speed boost, and you just have a hard-hitting rock move, just overall nice into some of the fire types in general, right? So I think this is pretty solid all together. And then your last slot here, again, just to help you a little bit more into the Trick Room matchup, we'll go with the Amoongus here. So this is exactly what they were doing. They were doing 1, they were doing 2, 3 grass types here, which is pretty interesting, right? But it works because, again, you have the rain, so you're reducing fire damage altogether. And, you know, these are 3 very different Pokemon here. And, you know, with Rillaboom and Ogerpon, they function very well because the Rillaboom with the terrain can give the Ogerpon a harder hitting power, which is important later on, right? So, and then, of course, when you terrestrialize this thing, you're getting a defense boost, right? Which is important in surviving a lot of the physical hits that are running around right now. So I think for something like this, we can keep the Ogerpon and the Amoongus relatively standard. So let's just go Jolly here, 252, 252. Okay, and then the Amoongus with Regenerator, we can just also go with another standard set here. We'll go with Rocky Helmet here just to break Sash. I think Tera Fairy is also like pretty good. And, you know, you can always change that to Water if you want, but I think Fairy is like relatively solid. Redirect some of these dragon type attacks like the Draco Meteors coming in. So Rage Powder, Spore, and then you could even do Sludge Bomb or Pollen Puff here. You know, I think both work relatively well. But I think Sludge Bomb is also kind of nice into like another Rillaboom for that matter, or some of the Tera Fairy options, like a Miraidon that might be coming out, or even like Tera Fairy Calyrex. I think Amoongus could potentially beat that, you know, if you're given the right circumstances. But I think this is also fine. Right, so after this, we'll just go Relax Nature here, and I'm still going with my 236 build. This is good for the Calyrex and the Chien-Pao attacks, in case you were running, right? So 0 speed, of course. And then the Pelipper itself, so I still want this thing to do some damage, so I actually went with Modest 116 Pelipper, but anytime you put a Covert Cloak on something, you know, I always just want to make it max HP here. In terms of, like, speed, I just put a little bit of speed just to, like, outspeed some Incineroars. I think this was like good enough, like 60 speed investment. And then dumping the rest here into defense was also important because if I show you this calc here, this is pretty good against Calyrex Ice Rider Glacial Lance there. Look at that, we survive. And this is a +1 Adamant Calyrex Ice Rider Glacial Lance. So you can live +1, which is really good. And then at the same time, you can also live Rillaboom Adamant 252 Wood Hammer, which is without Tera, right? Which is good. Because that means we have a good bulk on our side. So that's really what I was going for with this Pelipper set, at least just those 2 mods in general, right? So, and then after this, the rest of the spreads, they more or less stay the same here. But yeah, this is like variant number 4, all right? So if you want to play the Calyrex like this with speed control, wide guard, and a little bit of weather control, and making your Urshifu do more damage, this is another way to do it, and some familiar pieces that surround it. But again, just look at this. You've got Fake Out Pressure, you've got double redirection support. So instead of 2 Fake Outs and 1 redirection, we have 1 Fake Out and 2 redirections, right? So it still works. And again, it's just all about protecting this king and letting it set up and try and get off a nasty plot and just pick up KOs with Astral Barrage immediately. All right, one more test game with this, and you know, I'll show you 2 other builds that, you know, without like necessarily test games, but because they're very similar to what we have already. But at least with this one, look at this. So there's Lunala and Pelipper there. You know there's Wide Guard on this team. Malsalt is here. Very interesting, but, you know, not unheard of. Friend Guard is very good, okay? And then Landorus, of course, there's your Miraidon matchup. There's Kyogre. There's Rillaboom for your Kyogre matchup. Pelipper is looking pretty good here. So that means either the Pelipper has Wide Guard, which frees up a slot on the Lunala for something else, like maybe Protect for that matter, or the Lunala has Wide Guard and there's no Wide Guard on the Pelipper and instead it has Protect itself. So, you know, one or the other, and that'll depend on the moveset. that you use with it. So we'll have to see. But I do think Lunala plus something plus Landorus definitely comes here. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. So I'm gonna go with Urshifu first. And then Amoongus, just in case he wants to click Trick Room here. There's the Lunala that comes out, and there is the Pelipper. All right, so he boosts my Urshifu damage, which is nice. So I just want to break Shadow Shield on this Lunala, right? So that's good already. That's already more than 50% here. All right, Meteor Beam comes out. He goes actually into the Amoongus to try and break it down here. Hurricane comes out, and he just removes the Amoongus. So he saw that as the potential threat there. But now, look at this. Now Calyrex comes out here. So now I want to see his Wide Guard, okay? So he actually just switches into Rillaboom altogether, so he wants to preserve that, and we just want to deal big damage with the Urshifu. There's the Wide Guard that comes out, which is fine, right? Because again, I still force him to click that, which means no damage from him comes out this turn, and instead we get damage, right? So now look at this. Now the Pelipper is prone to getting KO'd by the Calyrex. So now he has to almost keep clicking Wide Guard here. So, you know, if he does, which he did, now I can play that to my advantage, keep the Urshifu alive a second, and just pick up the Pelipper right now. So now I can click my spread move because I got rid of the Wide Guard threat there. Okay, so now all I have to do is just reposition the Urshifu out of here. He has his own Urshifu here. So there's the Tera Water. He's looking for stuff. So Grassy Glide comes out. That never KOs, and then I have a Sash anyway. But here comes the Astral Barrage. Okay, again, getting the Urshifu down to Sash. Rillaboom is almost dead here. Okay, and then he does pick up the Calyrex, right? But that's okay because now, guess what happens after this? We pick up the Rillaboom here. He can't click Grassy Glide anymore. Okay, and now we have, guess what we have in the back to try and finish this out against his Lunala. We have Pelipper here, and there is his Lunala. So I know he's got a slower Lunala here, so we end up beating him with the Speed type potentially. There's the Moongeist Beam. That doesn't care. We have a bulky Pelipper. And now we just remove the Lunala altogether with our Weather Ball. There is no Shadow Shield there. So Pelipper, Urshifu cleaning up this game. But again, you saw how we were able to manage some of the match a little bit. Just remove the Wide Guard user, chip things to put them in range of the Astral Barrage, and that puts the opponent under pressure. Like, I can't give him, you know, KOs here, so he's like, you know, trying to position out, but then that means no damage comes out for him, right? So then we have the offense, we have the pressure, and then he just could not keep up with that pressure from the Calyrex, you know, steamrolling him. So, you know, we were able to deal more damage than him, which is why we were able to close this one out. All right, with these next two variants, you know, I won't show like a test game here because I think the video is long enough as it is, but I still want to show you just exactly what we're doing here. So you still round out the Calyrex with the big three, Incin, Rillaboom, Urshifu. This time we'll go with the spell tag. Okay, so 252, 252, Tera Normal spell tag, Psychic Nasty Plot, standard stuff there. We'll bring back Raging Bolt here, but this time we'll have Ogerpon Hearthflame, which is, again, a very bulky attacker that can deal lots of damage, especially when you terrestrialize it. You get a +1 boost, you hit very hard, and then even against Rillaboom, you know, it just makes your Grassy Glide hit stronger, and we have Rillaboom here altogether, right? So I think just having all this priority, you know, on your team here is really good, whether there is Tailwind or Trick Room or not, right? So the one thing that I do want to show you here is the Raging Bolt set here. This will be a Life Orb Raging Bolt rather than the Thunderclap. I'm sorry, the Booster Energy set. But what I want to do here is actually just max the speed here and have a fast Raging Bolt here, which is good. This is faster than, or actually, I think it's Speed Type Pelipper for that matter, the Timid Pelipper set. So you have to be aware of that. But really, what I'm doing here is I'm optimizing the HP for the Life Orb chip, just putting one piece of bulk in the defenses, and then look how it evens out here just to give me that third bump there into the special attacking stat. So fast Raging Bolt is pretty good in the mirror, and that's why I wanted to do it here. And I think we saw this towards the end of regulationG, you know, back in August. I think Hirofumi did this. So I wanted to like bring that back here and just show you like you can play Raging Bolt fast instead of slow. So this is another set that you can consider. Ogerpon Hearthflame here. So really what I want to do with this is just go Adamant 76, you know, and that's really all the damage I need out of it. You know, you can make it a little bit stronger if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you can just leave it like this, but I still want to be faster than like Modest Chiyu there. So I think we'll put it to 154, and then that's that. And then just put like the bulk here, right? And then you can just dump the rest here into HP there, right? And I think that's okay for what we want to do. If anything, you could just do something like this, just so that you get a nice even number there for the attack stat there, you know, for the +1 boost. So I think that's all we really need with Ogerpon, right? Just to still have some bulk, have some speed where you outspeed the, you know, the Chiyu there, and then just some attack, right, where you're still doing a good amount of damage, you know, if and when you terrestrialize this, right? But this is another way to play the Calyrex, again, with the spell tag. So you don't have the Life Orb chip coming out from you. That is coming from the Raging Bolt instead. So now you have two very aggressive special attackers. You got the physical damage here, the defensive backbone with the Incin and even the Ogerpon here. So double fake out, right, which is great. And you still have the redirection support, still staying true to our formula of trying to set up this Calyrex. So this is, again, variant number 5 over here, right? And we still kept the Rocky Helmet Incin, which is really good. I have to say, like, this is like one of the more recent developments, you know, towards the end of Reg G that we spoke about. But like Rocky Helmet Incin has been like so good. You know, I have to stress that. I can't stress that enough. It puts things in range for the Astral Barrage, and you know, I don't have to worry if you have your stash because, you know, it's already broken. So I do like this, and we get to have a little bit of aggression here with Flare Blitz. So we took out Will-O-Wisp there, and we decided, you know what, let's just go Flare Blitz here. Let's deal some damage besides just knockoff here. So that's another way that you can play this Incin, but I think this idea also works out relatively well here. So we'll show you one more, and then we'll get you guys out of here. All right, this will be the last variation that we show with this Calyrex. So again, we're going back to some familiar ideas here. So we'll still settle with Incin, Urshifu, Rillaboom here. Back to Goggles Incin with Will-O-Wisp. But now we'll add back the Tornadus there. So no Clefairy, no Raging Bolt here. But we still want the hyper offensive mode. So if you still want like balance with some hyper offense too, then you can definitely do something like this, where you have Tailwind, Rain Dance, Weather Control, Bleak Wind Storm, and Taunt. That's going to make this Urshifu do a little bit more damage. We're still keeping the Tera Normal spell tag as one ability here, of course. That should be something else over there. But yeah, and then the Amoongus, again, just gives you, again, another grass type, but again, something for that Trick Room matchup. But again, staying true to our idea of the double fake out redirection concept, you know, to try and set up this Calyrex here. So, you know, just protect your allies with the Amoongus, click Spore, and again, you know, sometimes that's a little bit hard in Miraidon games, but this is why you have to bring Rillaboom into that matchup too, right? So that's what I would do there. But this is another way that you can play it, depending on who you are. Again, I'm giving you multiple options here. This is why I'm putting out 6 teams here. But yeah, this is the last variant that we're going to showcase you here. So now let's bring everything into full circle. Let's come back and let's show you all the teams one last time, pace by pace, and get you guys out of here. All right, so this was the first one that we made here. So again, the Incin is the Rocky Helmet set here with Rillaboom and Urshifu here. The Clefairy is Terra Ground here. So again, I think you can always go flip-flop between ground and grass, depending on you. And same thing here with the Sing. You could do Sing or you can do After You, whichever one floats your boat here. This is the slow Raging Bolt idea where you're able to survive the Calyrex and the Chien-Pao attacks. And then this is the Life Orb Shadow Rider where you're just optimizing the HP for a little bit of chip. Otherwise, Tera Normal is the way to go here with the setup with Psychic and Nasty Plot. So you can go with this variant, or you can go a little bit more hyper offense here with Tornadus, Indeedee, Chi-Yu here, and go with the Specs idea and just nuke things with Astral Barrage and Expanding Force. Chi-Yu here is a Covert Cloak set here, so you're modest with Snarl support. All right, and Will-O-Wisp at the same time here, so you can use this. And then at the same time, Iron Hands here gives you a little bit of a Trick Room matchup as well, and a little bit of pivot potential with the Volt Switch. This is Goggles Urshifu here, where you can like play this with Indeedee, set up Swords Dance, and start going for stuff like Surging Strikes. And then you can also benefit from the Rain Dance from the Tornadus here. So this is another way to play it, right? It's like hyper offense with a little bit of a Trick Room aspect, so to speak. Right, this variant, all right, so back to Rillaboom Incin, but this time we add the Mienshao over the Raging Bolt to go along with the Clefairy here. And again, with Mienshao, you get another fighting type here with Wide Guard support and Taunt Pressure. The Urshifu here is using the Scarf variant with Rock Tomb speed control a little bit, but this is the Tera Fairy Covert Cloak set with Calm Mind. So you're a little bit more bulkier here. You're doing less damage in the beginning, but with the Intimidate support, along with Calm Mind, right? Now you're gonna play a little bit more bulkier, right? So you can survive a little bit better, which is kind of nice if you ask me. So you can do this variant. Otherwise, here's the next one. This one features Pelipper with Urshifu here, along with Ogerpon Cornerstone, right? This is still the Life Orb variant here with you're still getting Rillaboom and Amoongus here, so triple grass more or less. And the 5th and 6th one, which we didn't showcase a couple battles with, but still plays relatively fine here. The fast Raging Bolt here with Life Orb. Max modest 252, right? And again, spell tag still getting the same benefit of Life Orb almost, but no recoil, right? And then good stuff with Instant Urge Rillaboom, and then Ogerpon Hearthflame comes in as another bulky yet aggressive redirector, just like the Cornerstone. And then finally, this last one, back to Tornadus here, but we also just add the Amoongus for a little bit better of a defensive backbone with the Amoongus here, right? So all 6 variants here are going to be in the video description below, so hopefully you use one of them, and hopefully this at least gives you some perspective in how you want to use the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Now, are there other variants? Yes, I think there's some going around with like Dondozo, right? So if you want to explore the Calyrex Shadow Rider Dondozo ideas, you can definitely do that. Otherwise, you know, you can just ask me and then I can show you what that looks like. But I didn't want to really feature that here because I don't think it's like as dominant as some of these other 6, but it's still like very, very strong, you know, in the hands of the right player here. But with this Tornadus here, again, just to mention this real quick, the speed idea is to outspeed Urshifu, right? The Jolly one. And then you just go 252 HP because, again, we have the Covert Cloak, and dump the rest here into defense because that's really all you have that's left over here, right? So I just wanted to mention that because I don't think I mentioned that in the building aspect part of variant 6 here. Okay, if you are interested in team building, something else besides Shadow Rider, if you got a local coming up, if you're trying to get prepared for regionals in January, make sure you reach out and sign up for coaching on the channel. Tier 3 gets you a team building session with me where we can build the squad from scratch like this on Discord, and then we can help you practice a little bit and prepare for whatever it is you need it for. Even if you just need something for ladder, if you're not even going to a tournament, we can help you do that as well. So sign up and then message me on Discord. Join the Discord. That's free. You don't need to pay for that. But otherwise, happy holidays, and hopefully you guys stay warm and you know, hang out and spend some time with family and friends. Okay, Merry Christmas. Have a good one. Peace out.